Most foreign buyers think buying a property here in Colombia is very straightforward until they start the process and a few things surprise them. I'm here today with my brother Andrew Macia, one of the owners of Medellin livingrealestate.com. Today we're at one of the penthouses that we have available for sale in El Poblado, and we're going to talk about the surprises that foreign buyers face when they're buying property down here. Okay, Andrew, this surprise is the seller's deeds trap. It's where the seller will ask the buyer if they can record a lower amount on the deed.
That's a common one. The property that you're buying has probably been owned by this person for 10, 20 years. It might have multiple people on the deed, and they probably bought it for very, very low compared to what it is now, what they're selling it for. So in order to avoid a huge capital gains tax, they usually ask the buyer if they can record a lower amount on the deed for the sales price. And this could be a big no-no. For one, the Colombian IRS, the DIAN or DIAN, doesn't like when you go above a certain amount of money. You do have a little buffer there between 10 to 15%. You definitely want to be working with an attorney to make sure that you're doing all of this correctly. But if you record the sales price on the deed more than 15%, let's say 20, 30, even 50%, there's no way to justify that to the Colombian IRS. So if you do that and you get audited, you can run into problems. And you know you never want to get into problems with the tax authorities. So how do you deal with this? Number one, you want to work with a competent attorney. Number two, your attorney will probably just say flat out, no, don't do this because it's too much of a discount. Or number three, there could be an agreement between you and the owner in regards to what you're going to list as the sales price, what you're going to list as the furniture price, as long as it makes sense. Another solution is the fact that the parking spaces and sometimes utility rooms are separate deeds. So you can record separate prices for them if you wanted to. But again, I would work with an attorney. We always work with our trusted attorneys that are bilingual, that have been doing this over a decade. I've worked with my attorney for over 5 years now. She's done my own apartments as well, and I completely trust her advice. But yeah, it can be a big surprise when the seller's asking you to lower the sales price amount on the deed when you're closing. That being said, if you're ready to buy a property here in Medellin within the next 30 days and you want to work with our proven system called the MLS, Medellin Living Search System, where we become your own MLS. There is no MLS in Colombia. We become your MLS. We search through all platforms in the city, whether it's an investment or a lifestyle purchase. We only work with buyers that are ready to move and have a budget of $150,000 or more. If that describes you, there's a link in the description below. Fill it out and somebody on the team will get back to you ASAP.
This surprise catches many foreign buyers off guard is that when they learn there is no escrow system here in Colombia.
Yeah, that's a really big one because in the United States, traditionally you use an escrow to hold money when you put a down payment, and then when you're going to close, it gets released through the escrow company. Here, there are no escrows. Here, what you're going to have to do is open up a bank account. But since you don't have a local ID, that's nearly impossible. So what our clients do is they open up a brokerage account with a Colombian brokerage firm like Alianza. We've got a contact there that speaks English that will walk them through the process of opening up the account. It's free to open. You pay about 1% on the amount of money that you transfer through them, but it acts as your bank account in Colombia. So what you do is you wire transfer money from your US account or Canadian account or European account, wherever you are, into your Colombian brokerage account. It sits there until you give them the word to release it. And they'll release it via wire transfer to their Colombian bank or a bank check that they have to take to the bank. And of course, you're not going to do any of that without signing a purchase agreement and or signing the deed at closing. So the big question is there a risk of me losing my money once I transfer money over to an account? The answer is that it's a very, very slim risk. Because first of all, when you make your down payment, you're signing a binding agreement that is notarized in Colombia and can be enforced by law. So let's say you do transfer money into someone's account via your Colombian brokerage account and they back out of the deal. That agreement will have penalty clauses stating that they have to give you back the money plus a percentage of whatever it is that you agreed on in that penalty clause. Same thing goes for you as the buyer. If you back out even after sending the money over, the contract will stipulate what happens in that scenario. So once the buyers understand the purchase process here, it starts to make a lot more sense. But that's not the only surprise that you get during the process. Before we get to the next one, Franco, check out this little balcony here. You get a view down there of the famous bridge over there.
All right, Andrew, so this surprise comes when the foreign buyer is ready to send money to Colombia. They see an exchange rate on Google, but it's not the same in the brokerage account.
Oh, right, yeah, because when you use a brokerage account like Alianza or Acciones y Valores in Colombia, they use a different exchange rate. They don't use the exchange rate that you're looking at on Google, on your phone calculator, or on Wise. That's why it's important to work with someone there that speaks your language and that can explain to you the exact process that Alianza or Acciones y Valores uses when purchasing. We use Alianza and we've got a trusted person there. So when he walks someone through opening up an account there, he also explains to them what the purchase process is on his end, when the money comes in and when it goes out, how that works, and what exchange rate they use. They can't be precise on the exchange rate because it changes daily, but they can give you an average. Knowing this is important, obviously, because it's dealing with your money. You don't want to be caught off guard with even just a small percentage change in the exchange rate, because it can mean hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars at the end of the day. And that's not even the biggest surprise. There's a bigger surprise when you're doing title due diligence.
All right, Andrew, this surprise happens a lot. Foreign buyers learn that there is no title insurance here in Colombia.
Right, yeah, that's a big one, because in the United States, you rely on the title insurance to make sure that the title is free and clear. Here, there is no title insurance. Your lawyer has to do the title due diligence, which means that they have to use the Certificado de Tradición y Libertad, which is the ownership history report, and that's a public record. Anyone can get it. Once your attorney has that document, they'll do the due diligence, making sure that it's free and clear, no liens, no back taxes, etc. So even though there is no title insurance here, you still get the same type of guarantee through your own attorney doing the legal background check on the property. So you've gone through the purchase process and now you own the apartment. The surprises don't stop there. There's more surprises to come as you start the renovation process.
So this surprise happens when the foreign buyer already bought the property, when they discover their HOA may have rules that restrict certain renovations.
Yeah, the HOA rules. You should definitely ask for that. I'll give you my example. When I bought one of my first properties here in Medellin, I didn't know all this, so I had to make these mistakes. I bought the property and I just said, oh, well, I'm just gonna put AC in every room. Lo and behold, I didn't know that putting AC on the top of the building, you had to go through the HOA's approval, and some HOAs just won't allow you because it affects the facade of the building. The HOA rules are there for various reasons, and one of them is to protect what the building looks like on the outside. So I had to go through about a month of approvals just to get things done in that first one. So I learned right then and there, before I even purchased a property, I want to see the HOA rules just to make sure that there aren't some crazy rules about reconstruction, about remodeling, or days or hours of remodeling, because those can be hindrances as well. Some of them can be as extreme as saying there can't be any construction noise from said time to said time, Monday through Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can't do any work. So this one you can easily work around by asking for that, but some foreigners just don't know that they should ask for it. So yeah, if you're not working with us, make sure that the real estate agent that you are working with knows this and asks for that. But you should be working with us. I mean, come on. Okay, so we've gone through some of the biggest surprises when you are purchasing the property and now that you own the property. But what if you want to put it up on Airbnb or just rent it out? There are a few big surprises there.
All right, Andrew, this is a big surprise for many foreign buyers. Sometimes a listing says short-term rentals are allowed, but later the buyer discovers the building isn't actually zoned for them.
Yeah, this could be a big problem because in Colombia, most apartments are residentially zoned, meaning that you can only rent it out for a minimum of 30 days. Usually they're going to be 6-month to year-long contracts if they're unfurnished. But if you've got them on platforms, you'll be able to do monthlies. However, the HOA can override this because the owners have voted on only allowing 6 months or year-long rentals. Sometimes the owner that is selling the apartment might not even know what the property is zoned for. They may be doing short-term rentals, but the HOA has been relaxed. No one has ever complained or ever said anything. So they list it as a daily rental. But then when you purchase it, you realize, wait a minute, this was zoned residential only. Technically, I'm only allowed to rent for 30 days minimum. And if you continue to do daily rentals and someone complains, you'll get fined by the city, shut down, etc. It's just a big headache that you want to avoid. So how do you avoid this? Number one is by working with a competent lawyer that can do the due diligence and also look at a document called Propiedad Horizontal, which states what the building use is, whether it's commercial, whether it's residential, mixed use unit. Furthermore, understanding the current owners of the building. I'll give you a real example. One of our clients bought an apartment near the Provenza area, but everyone in that building has already voted through the HOA to rezone it to commercial so that they can do daily rentals. So he was apprehensive at first because he said, well, I'm buying this because I want it as an investment and I want to be able to do daily rentals. But what if this approval doesn't go through? They voted on it, but what if it doesn't go through? Well, that is a risk. The good thing is that 90% of all of the apartments in that building are on Airbnb already. And on top of that, it's 2 blocks from the main strip of Provenza. So that whole area has a zoning to it. So the probability of it going through was very high, and now it is actually gone through. And he has remodeled it, has it on Airbnb, and it worked out. But it was only because we knew the zoning of the area. We knew what was going on in the building. We've sold a couple of apartments in that same building, and we know a few of the owners. So they were able to tell us what direction the HOA was going to mitigate that risk for our client. All right, we're going into the second floor of this beautiful penthouse. The previous tenant here was using this as a master bedroom, but I would probably use this as an office or maybe like just a social area. Maybe like a second living room. I know downstairs they had one. We just sold an apartment next door and they remodeled it and knocked down all the walls downstairs and made it completely open kitchen concept. What I love about this apartment the most is the natural light that you get. You've got a lot of skylights. You've got like these triangular windows on both ends over here and the high ceilings. You got a lot to work with here, which is awesome. So if you are interested in buying this one, there's a link in the description below to the actual listing. And then there's also a link to our form. Once you fill out that form, somebody on the team will get back to you and we'll show you this beautiful apartment in Patio Bonito. Let me know in the comments if you know where Patio Bonito is. All right, guys, those were the Medellin buyer surprises. Let us know in the comments if you've come across any other surprises or if you have questions. Furthermore, when you're ready to buy, remember MedellinLivingRealEstate.com. There's a link in the description below. You can fill it out. We'll get to work. We'll see y'all in the next one.